Hi, Greg.
Hi, David.
How you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. We've got a bunch of people in the chat, and it's nice to see everyone here this morning.
Yeah, welcome. I hear splashback in your phone, I think.
Yeah, I turned it down.
Greg's phone is loud.
That was me. Sorry.
My phone was loud too. I just turned it down. Good morning to everybody. We've got quite a few people here.
Yes.
I looked up and I noticed the counter was at 0, and I'm like, uh-oh. I better click the button. Ooh. So welcome. Yeah, no apologies about missing a week when you don't get here or anything like that. We're here most Sunday, or yeah, it's Sunday today, isn't it? Yeah, Sundays.
It is Sunday today, all day,
Yeah,
even though it's snowing.
yeah, it's gross here again. But we need it because we had fire bans already. So the more moisture, the better.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna flip to a special slide to us here. Boom, boom. We would like to thank all of our patrons. Helps, thanks for being there. Tree supports, thanks everybody else. Without you, some of these projects just wouldn't happen. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And they're slowly coming together.
They are. They are. If you're interested in checking out the Patreon, it's patreon.com/3dmakeit. And we do post. Oops, that's just David. Let's get Greg and David. We do post kind of behind the scenes pictures, videos, posts, and stuff like that. There is a Discord too. If you do follow the videos or you go far enough back in the videos, you'll find a public Discord that's kind of like, it's not defunct, but it's just like a general Discord that we talk in once a week instead of like once every day. So the Patreon's more.
Mind you, last week we weren't very chatty because we were kind of preoccupied with work stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely a busy week for us, and well, the week before was busy too. So we made it though. It's Sunday, and like we call with the show, it's here. The week's it's done. It's finished. So yay! Now there's something we gotta talk about, and I don't know how we're gonna resolve this yet. But summer is coming, Greg. Summer is coming, and
it is
for me. That means camping probably like every weekend and like a few weeks here and there. And for you, that means you're disappearing for a while.
Well, yeah, but I'll still have internet. So, if we want to do something, we can. But I think we might be on less frequently for the live stuff. We'll make sure we have some videos and stuff to put out, but we're gonna take some time, but that's not until like July-ish.
Yeah, but I want to ease them into it. Like I don't want to like, it's like a lobster in a pot, right? If you put it in and boil it gently, they don't so much mind. Not that I'm saying we're gonna boil.
We will be doing stuff. It won't be as frequent during the summer, just because we're trying to getting some relaxing time off. Hopefully, if everything goes smoothly.
Yeah, well, like I know I'll have a relaxing time. Greg, on the other hand, he still has a trailer to fix. But that kind of stuff's coming. We'll do our best to kind of, keep stuff most frequently. Some weeks it might just be me doing the live stream. Some things it might be Greg. And I mean, I did last year. I took all my rigs out to the trailer, right? And I did a video out there. So it's not like we can do stuff. It's just I would never run my printer out there.
And my bandwidth is going to be somewhat limited where I am. So I'll probably do some stuff, but it might be uploads rather than live videos. So
and Stig mentioned there too, just the SKR2, and it is out. The SKR2 is out. I actually haven't seen it it's in the nightly of Marlin. It's not in 2.0.7.2.
It's in the mail too.
And it's in the mail. Greg has one coming. So yes, that one is coming. And then what else is in the mail finally?
Oh man! Finally, they confirmed my shipment of my E3 RepRap Big Tree Tech with IDEX. So they forgot, they said, to ship it. Yeah. Or it got returned to them or something. Like they made lots of excuses, but I got a confirmation code so that it's actually shipped this time. So I'm hoping it actually shows up in the next couple weeks, which would be nice. And then we can progress on our IDEX project that we're slowly moving towards. We're David had to do a little bit of work on some stuff, but I think we're going to talk a little slicer stuff before we get into that.
Yeah, I think so. And again, like if you guys have anything you're working on or anything that you have questions about or even want to throw a comment up, by all means, throw that in the chat and we'll hopefully we read it. We should read it. We're usually pretty good. Sometimes we go down the rabbit hole. We mentioned last week, and in my last video I mentioned it, so like it was last week, but we were using the Kira 4.9.0 beta. Well, they've moved it from beta into release. So now you can, when you go to the website, or if you open Kira 4.8.1, it will prompt you to download Kira 4.9. And this version of Kira actually excites me. There's specific reasons why, but one of the reasons why is you can't go to another sub-release version. It means Kira 5's coming.
Oh,
yeah, we're getting close to Kira 5. Like we can go. They'll probably have a .1, so like a 9.1, like they usually have, just to do quick bug fixes and stuff. But yeah, like that's exciting for me because I'm excited to see all that Kira 5 brings. Because I think, this is just thinking, the Arcana engine might make it into it now. I think that might become their main.
I would think so.
So
like, why wouldn't they move that into their? I mean, they're still betaing it and whatnot, but it's got to be close to some release candidates now.
Yeah, like it. I've used it for a while, and I know that some of our other cohorts close to us here have used it. So it's just that it's so close, and with that major release version coming, I would like them to revamp the whole thing. The one thing about Kira that I don't like is like their branding on it. I think they could make it like pop more, you know, from a UI. So that is exciting and cool. And if you haven't used it, the biggest improvements again are just in the slicer view, the preview settings. So they've changed how the line previews and that stuff work. So that's kind of exciting. And then the other thing too is I have to get on lazy, Greg. It would save me by being unlazy. It would save me time in the end.
You were unlazy yesterday.
That's true. It's true. If you guys don't know, too, like the SX4 and some of those random printers aren't in Kira, and you can definitely fork it and submit the printers, and so I'll probably do that so I can be super lazy. Super lazy. But that's kind of where we are now. Greg had a really an interesting good live stream on the fly. It was okay. Like it had some problems, technical issues, but
technical issues.
We don't count technical issues as a real issue, right? We're all friends. But well, Greg's been playing with it some more. And if you're in Patreon, you probably saw a bit more. But he's got some screens working on it now, right?
Yeah. I'm enjoying my foray into RepRap firmware. I wasn't sure, about the learning curve, but it's actually pretty straightforward once you get it loaded. And I actually thought I did something wrong because the firmware I upgraded the firmware, and it worked first time, and it only took a few seconds, and so I thought it didn't work.
This is too
so
easy,
I had to
too
check
fast.
a couple things, and I was like, "Wow, that was stupid simple."
Yeah, and sometimes it is that simple, but it always throws me for a loop. My audio seems lower than usual, but maybe it's my system. I don't know. I just asked about the music, just so you know. It's like, is it too loud? And they're like, no, it's fine. It's fine. I think
so
we're at the same
it's I'm really liking this interface. Like, so it's basically a nice GUI.
Yep.
You can open each of your config files directly. So they've broken it down so that there's a boards file which has all your pins in it defined, and if you need to change a pin definition, you just change it, reboot, and you're done. It's changed. You don't have to recompile. You don't have to do anything. It's good to go. I had the older version, or the original release for the flyboard, and so I had everything set up, but the screen wasn't working with the stock ender screen.
Right.
So you had to be on version, like a couple versions newer for the latest release, and so as soon as I updated that and rebooted, boom, up it came with a little basic interface with graphics and everything right away. And so it's pretty slick, I gotta say. I am having a bit of a bug on the graphical side for the Big Tree Tech screen. I was cleaning up one of my hot ends, so I threw a thermistor in it, and I actually had the soldering iron heating up the heater block, so I could do a hot tighten of the heat break and whatnot. And I was monitoring the temperature with the flyboard, and it worked fine from the web GUI. I could see the temperature go up, but the Big Tree Tech board was just reporting the initial temperature at red. It wasn't reporting the changes. But if I flipped over to the Marlin mode, then all the temperature changes were reported correctly. So there must be some sort of communication polling thing that isn't tweaked right. So I'm gonna have to play with the Big Tree Tech firmware a bit and see if there's something on their side. But it was very easy to set up the Big Tree Tech firmware to work. You basically just flash the latest version of the firmware, and then they supply now a config rep rrf.ini, and you just rename it to config.ini and then put it on the SD card and flash it, and now it puts it into rep mode, which is super easy. So yeah, I'm liking it. It's definitely I would say more user friendly once you get it loaded than Marlin, but I think there's a lot of technical stuff you can do with it that is going to be a little bit of a learning curve, because they have like macros you can load in to do certain things, and reversing steppers is a little bit different, so I have some syntax to learn.
Yeah.
To make sure that I'm understanding it correctly.
Yeah, and it's very similar to similar but not the same. Okay, similar G2 box because it's config file driven, so you just flash the firmware once and then upload your new files. Very similar, where it has the web GUI where you're like toggle number, toggle submit, and it's just updating the config file in the back. But from what I've seen so far, and like from your experimentation, is I very much like how it could simplify the interface and take away the need for a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say you can take away the Raspberry Pi, but it's darn close. You could, because you can still use a Raspberry Pi to manage your uploads and remote control it, but you can also just upload your model directly to the board, right? And it'll even give you a 3D preview of your build plate and whatnot. So like it's pretty slick, I gotta say. It's I'm just struggling on which printer to put it in.
Well, and that's something that happened so like yesterday too. I was doing stuff, but I got a message from you and they said Bear is no more. Did it make you mad, or did you just start on a path?
No, as you guys may know, I am going to be building a V0, and so I need space, and so I figured the printer I was using the least needed to be recycled, and so I've dismantled my ANET A8, broke it all down, separated the steppers, all the parts. So I've got it separated, and so now I'm going to have some room. I can rearrange things a little bit, and I'll be able to have my Voron somewhere here. And yeah, so that's the plan. And I think I might recycle the it's a what's the board in there? It was the
I don't even remember. Was it the
MKS
one?
It wasn't one of the MKS boards.
Yeah,
it's got 2130s in it, I think, is what it was. Silent stepper. So I may recycle that, and I might convert my MakerBot replicator to Marlin. So so that might be a stream or two as I tear it apart. So
yep. I'm just gonna. Somebody said my mic's a little low, so there. I turned it up for you. Sorry about that. Is that better? Just let me know. But yeah, like Bear, I was gonna shed a tear for it just because it was sentimental.
Well, it's sentimental. It was my first 3D printer, so he will be reborn again in some form.
Yeah,
I will use the parts.
He's like a phoenix.
And so that's not a problem. He will rise probably as Oscar, which is my planned really inexpensive printer build customization thing. So
yeah,
so that's
that'd be cool.
In the works, but that one's like kind of a project with my kids. So I'm not sure. I'll probably put snippets here and there on the channel. But
yeah, I mean, and product
you were having some issues and some frustrations with the Legend.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know what the Legend is, a lot better. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. Sorry, I turned down my preamp because I was recording some guitar stuff yesterday. So the guitar is a lot louder. But the Legend is a printer by Big Tree Tech that was out for about 4 months at the most, and then they changed it.
It was the prequel to the B1.
Yeah. And so basically it's an Ender clone, and if you guys watched the live stream, you'll know that it electrocuted me the first time. And so that's where the love-hate relationship really started. Greg dropped one off here. I don't even know when it came, last year sometime. But anyway, I tuned it up, it got printing, and then yesterday, I thought, this will be simple. I will print that's a good question, Ray. And actually it depends what you're referring to, because the human body technically can take like hundreds of thousands of volts of electricity. However, it cannot take anything above 0.4 milliamps or you will die. Now, I've learned with the Legend, and I said this in the Discord last night, and if any of you are electrically minded or have done electrical work, electricians, I always work on the Legend with one hand. I never, ever, ever touch the Legend with more than one hand.
I do believe it's fully grounded.
Yeah, I got electrocuted yesterday when I turned it on again, so I don't trust it.
Okay, well, maybe it's only mine that's fully grounded.
I found the problem. So that was one. Yeah, past 10 milliamps will stop your heart. Yeah, and your muscle seize. If you are working, and don't take this as life advice, by the way, but if you are doing something dangerous, lots of times the electricians and all of those folks will use one hand, because if your feet aren't grounded and you're not wearing rubber, you got rubber boots on and you're not touching anything else, the electricity will enter and leave your hand, not cross your heart. You don't die. but you could die. So don't do it. This is not an endorsement. But the main project on the Legend yesterday was the hotbed. As you guys may or may not know, we want to start printing some ABS, which it's easy enough, right? We're going to throw the printer in just a wooden enclosure. We got some parts we need for Greg's Voron to come off of it. So the Legend is a perfect option for that because I can put it out in the garage. Nobody be around the fumes and just print, right? Which is great. But I noticed that the Legend I have, and this is where it started, okay? It didn't have strain relief on the bed. No. So I thought I better fix that. So I took all the bed springs off, got the bed off, went to put the little 3D printed. I used the CR10S or CR10 bed relief modeled off of Thingiverse, which worked fine. And I noticed that the original solder job
was pretty crappy.
Terrible. So like they had cut the wire too long, so instead of trimming it so it was the right size for the pad, and then after soldering it would just be the plastic sleeve. No. There was at least 1/8 of an inch of bare wire. So like if that wire swung either way, it could connect and that would be an issue. So I fixed that ish. And then I got that back together. But in the process, I had to pull out two of the cables, like the thermistor and the power cables out of the Bix block. And when I went to take the thermistor out, I grabbed it with pliers. I didn't pull from the wires. They snapped off because they had crimped them too hard. So that was the second problem. So I was sitting here with the printer.
Stig's asking us about why we use ABS. Well, the Voron print recommends ABS for the Voron build.
Yeah.
And we don't actually have any ASA.
That and so, finding the colors that Greg wanted in ASA wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
They just weren't available.
If you don't know, the Voron Zero its name will be Hulk.
Rare.
Because it's so tiny and so powerful. So it's going to be green and purple. So that's and we could not get any other colors and other materials that would stand up. So that's why it's going to be ABS.
Yeah, and so like the Legend, it has like a fake volcano on it and all that stuff. So it's actually well suited for it, but the bed wires were just terrible. And once I got that fixed, the X gantry actually popped off because the so on the Ender 3 and most printers out there, there's tapped holes into the aluminum that your screws go right in to hold the gantry to like the side there. No. This one uses T-nuts, and over time those T-nuts actually turned. And so when I picked it up to put it back under, the whole X gantry flopped off. So then I had to put all that back together, and I was like, At one point when I was working on it, Greg and I Skyped for a bit, and I used the words, "If this doesn't work, I'm going to tear this apart with my bare hands and smash it." I was going to Hulk it up. Stig says, "Well, it's hard to find pink ASA. One of Greg's favorite test colors is pink. He likes to print pink test objects."
I use normally you can find pink in the warehouse deals on Amazon for super cheap because everyone like buys it and then hates it, and so I have prototype pink a lot of the time when I'm prototyping because it's the cheapest filament you can get.
Yeah,
but no, it'll be green and purple, Hulk colors.
Yeah, and we did go with the ABS Plus from eSun, which is a lower smelling anyway. I think, and we talked about it when Alman was here. Anything with styrene off gases, and it's not like you can get away from it. It just smells better. So, But we went with the Plus just because of the additives in it. It'll make it a little better to print, and it might not stink out my garage, but I don't care. it it will definitely not be by
Yes,
me.
Stig, it was the legend that had the tantrum and threw its bed across the room.
Yeah,
Yes.
same one. Yeah, yeah. It's just been behaving. So now it's in the corner again. I put it under the table. It is going to make its way though out to the garage. And the last thing that really my brain hurt on this one, Greg, and I think yours might be the same. The bed on the legend.
Mm-hmm.
They use shrink wrap tube that wasn't
Mm-hmm.
shrunk as the what? So like I thought, okay, this is so I went upstairs and I got some of my my good cable management. I got some from Princess Auto, just and so then I ran. I cut off all of the weird stuff, and I ran it through some good. I don't know what it's cable loom. Yeah, cable loom, wire loom. Yeah,
yes.
and so I ran it through, and then I used a bottle cap because Greg knows I have an issue with pop. But I cut a hole in the bottle cap, shoved it in, put the loom through in the case, and then zip tied it. So now the cable can't move no more.
So, David, you should have told me, because look what I have here for you.
Grommets.
Rubber grommets.
But see, this was cheaper, and I felt way more MacGyver-y.
Look, these are free.
That's true.
These
that's
are
true.
Free. For you, I not charge.
So, and I wanna like really give the legend heck, because literally, how long should it, Greg, how long should it take you just to put on the freaking strain relief thing and move on with your life? How, like
10, 15 minutes?
It took me 9.5 hours. Once I got into it, I'm like, well, I can't leave it like this. So I started fixing like, and then when I got underneath, like there was some zip ties from factory where they had bunched cables together, and a good chunk of them were cut in half because they were too tight. So then I got the soldering iron out. I'm out of shrink tube now, by the way. So I'll have to go with Princess Auto and get a bunch. But it was one thing after 9 hours.
That's way too much.
I could build a whole printer in like 6, like from scrap, from pieces, right? Like I'm talking like everything's in pieces. And the thing with that, like I had to like walk away in the middle to go get like, cat food or whatever it was and come back. But like the legend is an exercise in patience.
Yes. It was definitely trying your patience for sure.
Serenity now. But
yeah, I think Stig. I think he meant thinks it's possessed, and so we need an exorcism.
I think we should try throwing toilet water at it first. Out. Oh, sorry, that's holy water. But long story short, like I made it. It is in working order. It's gonna be ready to print ABS today, so we'll probably throw off a test print just to see how the ABS we got prints, so we know. We might even print a temperature tower depending if I feel motivated to.
Probably should.
Yeah, Hell, just like hence the name Legend. Yes, yeah. It should go down in history. That's about it.
Well, and guys, you'll be hearing more about it because this is also the printer that's going to be IDEX.
Yeah, this is the printer that we want to IDEX, and I know we've got one of our good friends from Calgary. He's gonna join us on the process, and I don't know if he's gonna use a Legend or an Ender. I'm not sure.
Well,
Ray,
I think he has the B1, which is equivalent to the Legend in the mechanics of how the gantry is set up and everything. So I think that's the one he might be working on.
Yeah, I think, and he can, if he's around, he can definitely pop it into chat there. I'm just looking for.
And Ben wants to do 6 switchwire printers. Wow, that's ambitious.
Switchwire, good. Yeah, it's a good project though. Keep you busy
absolutely
for a hot minute. Man, I can't find the thing I'm looking for in the chat, so I guess I'll just stop. It's still
Gary. We are waiting for the IDEX board that we ordered.
Yeah.
Actually, one of our lovely Patreons sent us the money to get that board, and we're still waiting for it. So it's in the mail. Eventually, it'll get here, and then we will start working on the IDEX build. I'm not sure what David's doing for a board for his IDEX, so we have to figure that out.
I was thinking I might do like the SKR2 or something that's a little bit like hacky, you know what I mean? Like look what we made work for this project kind of thing. Although my turbo would already do it.
I think the SKR2 doesn't have enough steppers.
No, but the SKR E3 turbo that I got, that one has enough steppers, so I might do it on there and then just get another SKR board normal SKR board to drop into that printer.
You need 6 steppers?
Yeah, I have 6 on it. There's 2, because there's
6. I thought there was only 5 on there.
Oh, there's XYZ, and then there's 2 extruders. That's all you need. Why do you need? What's the other one you need?
2 extruders.
Yeah.
And then 2X.
Yeah, I'm missing one. That's why. Oh, here, guys. I'm gonna pop a picture of the legend in the chat here, just so you can all see it. Now I feel better. Okay, so check out that picture of the legend and iQuex. Wah, wah, wah. So yeah, like I guess I'll have to find maybe the Pro. The SKR Pro would do it.
You can. Well, there's a couple of those fly boards that have enough steppers built onto them too.
Well, that's true. The one Stig and I were looking at one in it was the bigger brother to the one that you got, and we were looking at that one for a while there.
6 or 7 steppers on it or something. So
yeah,
that could be a good option for you. You can suggest what board David should use in his IDEX project.
Yeah, let's take votes. I spent all day yesterday setting up an old computer in Linux, Octoprint machine, and running Octofarm on it. Yeah, we do that a lot with HP Mini computers. We have a few people that we've set Linux and Octoprint up in just was it Ubuntu or was it Lime or Mint? I think it was Ubuntu. Just because Ubuntu. How many Linux people we got out in the chat there? I know that Stig is on Linux, but how many Linux we got? Ben says I have a flyboard with 9 drivers. Yeah, and I've seen those.
That's the one we were thinking.
Yeah. So.
What's the CD? I can't remember.
Stig uses Ubuntu. Yeah, Ubuntu is a pretty good build. I've got like a fleet of like Raspbian, one little Ubuntu and that kind of thing. But you know, variety is the flavor and of life, and it's amazing. Thing kept reissuing my port numbers for other printers. It was confused to. Did you statically set your ports eventually, based off the serial of the device? Just curious. Ben says Mint. Yeah, Mint's a popular one too. I've used Mint. I learned on Red Hat Linux and Sun Solaris Unix.
Yeah.
So that goes back 20 years. That's when I started on that stuff, roughly. So Dan says yes. Okay, good. The other thing with the if you're doing an Octo Farm on the PC and you're trying to use, like, the printers will have ports, but your cameras, if you're using cameras for each, is probably best to use the Logitech cameras, either the C615 or its little brother, right? I forget the model of that one, Greg, but they are also serial addressed. Wait, hold on. Are you there? Talk.
I'm here.
Okay, he's there. Good. I thought you didn't have audio.
Here, my audio has been solid since I deleted the driver and put it back.
So Gary says Linux on a laptop runs better. Xubuntu is nice. Yes, Xubuntu is nice. I've had good success with little Ubuntu. If you're doing almost nothing, it works fantastic. But let's see, Red Hat Fedora was the distro that yeah, I know, right? Like lots of time Red Hat. It's interesting because they just changed the licensing model, and somebody bought them too, if I remember.
Well, they abandoned one of their models. What is it? They basically got rid of their open source version.
Yeah, because they just went with their
making everyone use the actual Red Hat now.
Yeah, so, they went with like actual
kind of.
I mean, they've been around long enough. They don't really owe anybody, but I mean that's kind of and this is actually, it's a good segue into some other topics too. Let's just see what Ray has to say. Greg, are you using the E3 RRF for the IDEX?
That is the plan if it ever gets here.
Yes, he is. So I want to talk just very, very briefly, maybe briefly. It might be longer than briefly, but Linux is an interesting jumping point for the topic, and that topic is open source stuff. So we've seen, if you guys have followed like Thomas Edlander and the teaching tech. I'm using those two as an example because they both built it. They both built, like, it was called the MBCNC, right?
Yeah. Mostly
printed CNC, and I'm not saying go print one. I'm not saying not go print one. If you want a CNC, you could check it out. But technically, it was an open sourced machine, and then Tom made a part, and the one dude's like didn't like the part, and then there was probably the best YouTube video ever on him just disassembling it.
that was right? Actually pretty amazing. He went through the whole thing talking about open source, and he slowly just took all the parts apart.
Yeah, and then like the teaching tech just put it together and used it, and it was fine. And but the overarching discussion there was between, well, this is open source, and it was also copyright under the Creative Commons copyright. So if open source is a project that is community driven, but it doesn't mean that project doesn't fall under copyright laws, and even it could go as far as patent, but generally speaking, it's just copyright laws there. And a good example of something that is open source but is still copyright is like Kira. It is a community-driven open source. Everybody can play in it, but they do release versions, and Ultimaker owns the copyright and licensing for Kira. So like that's an example. And there is lots of confusion. and great.
Dan has a good point
right
there, that open source does not necessarily mean free.
No, and it doesn't, right? Like Greg and I, we're using it's not open source. It's pretty darn close, but it's donationware, and it's a software called Voicemeeter, and it's a really good software. But again, like donationware it's along the same lines, but it doesn't mean free. And open source, Prusa printers are open source.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you can get a free Prusa printer from Prusa. I mean, you could make your own from the plans, and you could have one. But if you wanted to order it, it's not free, and
you can't necessarily resell it as your own.
Yeah.
Either, right? Because it's you have to attribute the people that built it, and you have to honor what has been laid out in the terms of use, right?
Yeah, and I think so. Like going past, so going past open source, even into the Creative Commons copyright. There is a whole can of worms that opens up when you're thinking about how to sell your services, because there's two camps and they're fairly well entrenched, right? So if I say, Greg, I don't have a printer and I wanted Benchy, can you print me a Benchy? And I'll pay you what you want. So Greg says, yeah, I'll print you a Benchy, right? How much do you charge for your time? Right? What? Yeah. Maybe $4 an hour or whatever you set your time at. So would that, as an example, be breaking any of the Creative Commons? Like, let's say Benchy was non-com.
It's very gray.
So I would in my interpretation, and I like to think it's a pretty open interpretation. I would think if a person doesn't own a 3D printer, they could hire out a printing service to print an item. Yep. They do it all the time, right? So I think that's cool. But let's say I go to Greg again and I say, hey, Greg, I want to buy a Benchy from you. And you go, okay, here's a Benchy. He's $19. Well, but then I say even more specific, Greg, I want to buy a purple Benchy from you. And you're, okay, yeah, no worries. Here's our purple Benchy. I've got 5 left. That statement, I've got 5 left, makes that incorrect.
Yeah.
Because you're stocking it at that point, right?
Yeah. If it's one thing to make someone a model that off Thingiverse and give it to them. It's another thing for them to buy you some filament to do it. But if you are selling like the same model over and over and trying to be a reseller, well, that's breaking. That's definitely going against the terms of service, right?
It totally is. And so like there's the line, right? Are you selling the 3D printing as a service? And I've seen this on local like swap and buy groups where it's like, oh, hey, I happen to have like this flexible turtle and this flexible octopus or whatever it is, right? And I'm selling them for $15 a piece. And then in their statement, they say, I don't have a 3D printer. My friend printed it for me. And so now I just have them, so I'm going to sell them. Right. Again, that goes into the area of you have stock, right?
Area that you shouldn't. Yeah. But I mean, most of us have our own 3D printers, so we can print our own stuff. So.
Right.
And if you're designing your own stuff, do whatever you want with it.
Well, and that's the kicker. Did you make it?
Yeah. And so the big, if you go back to the Tom story there, he designed his own part to go on to that open source CNC. Well, the guy didn't like it, and he said, well, you can't do that. I'm like, well, it's my thing. But Tom wanted to give the mod to everyone. He's like, no, you can't do that.
No, not allowed to. And I mean, and Dominic comments too. I don't think you can sell them on Etsy. And you are correct, but man, has it happened a ton. A ton. People have been doing that. And eBay, remember there was that one
Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace, yeah. For you, Ben, I will print you 100 octopuses, but I will charge $1. You have printers.
You must send us ASA, and then we'll print it.
Yes.
And then we won't charge you anything.
Yeah, we'll just ship them back to you. That'll be the best box of through customs ever. We'll just put on the label 100 octopuses. Would it be octopi? 100 octopi?
Maybe. Yeah, I guess it would be an octopi.
Yeah, which is interesting in the field that we are in. But I mean, copyright. So you have open source, which is community driven, but generally speaking, somebody is still the captain. Marlin is open source, right? And interestingly enough, they fall under the copyright of, and that's why if somebody uses Marlin for their machine, they have to give you the Marlin that they used to do that. So, I mean, that's just Uncle Jesse has been having issues with Etsy. Yeah, and it really bothers me because when people on Etsy or Facebook, Greg, right, or wherever we're talking,
yeah,
the people that are selling it just don't give a crap. And then like I got told to shut up because I said on a marketplace once that you can't sell that's copyright. And then they told me, shut up. I'm the admin, and I looked it up for 5 minutes, and it's fine.
Yeah, no, that's not the way it works. Yeah. But yeah, if you are the primary designer of the model, you should be able to sell it, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
do whatever you want
no
with
problem.
it.
Like, because you choose how to use it, and then you can then go after people who are doing the wrong thing by taking your model and maybe misusing it, right?
Yep.
So, yeah.
And again, it's one of those interesting rabbit holes to go down. And I took a law class like way back, and it was consumer law, but like when I was in university, and like it was enough to like whet your appetite for it, just to get you angry. Like, whoa. Yeah. Ben says the Marlin is licensed under GPL 3, General Public License 3. So yeah.
You have to attribute the and not modify it and attribute and make all the source that you modify available, if I'm not mistaken, with GPL3. Is that right, David?
Yes, sir.
Sounds right.
Yep. And I did that with the so I did that with SX4 because it was running Marlin, but they didn't post the firmware, and I wanted to update it, so I emailed them. I'm like, yo, you have firmware that I want to see what you did, but it's Marlin and you don't have it on. And they emailed it to me like, burp. So sometimes it's not like, posted. Oh, wait. Hold on. Oh, Greg put something in the chat. I got it, or not chat. I got to look at it. Oh yeah, the board for David. Let's see.
It should have enough. I think it has enough steppers for you, and it can run RepRap. So.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the right. 1 second. When you're running 3 monitors, it's really hard to. I'm glad that I have studio mode engaged. Let's just put it that way. And my face is in the wrong spot. Okay, so here is kind of what Greg suggested as a board. No, don't send me. Is this Fly CDY V2? What do you guys think? Does that look good? I think that'll do it. Is that the one you have, Ben? So the real question is like, do you fill it with, populate it with stepper, like 2209s? Probably.
You could.
Hello, Marcel. I don't know if we're beautiful, but hello. So yeah, that's definitely one that we can think about. Maybe I'll put an order later and we'll get it shipping. Audio seems pretty low over here. Hello?
Well,
okay.
We adjusted it earlier.
We did. Okay, let's take a quick vote. Who thinks the audio's low? Let us know. Okay. Marcel already put his vote in, so he only gets to vote once. Let us know. We can fix it. I'm just looking at the output, and it does look like we're hitting that -10 to -5 range. So, we're doing okay. Okay, we got some okays.
Right.
Okay. Well, Marcel, I'm sorry, but I don't. Oh, okay. So you came over from the other stuff, and okay. So I'll have to. So, guys, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna watch the video back after. I can't fix it right now, but if we're a little bit low, I'll bring it up to like -18 LUFS, and then that should be okay. Greg's a little low.
I'm a little low. I'm boosted as much as I can be, unfortunately. So
we'll get it. So we're working on. We got some. Greg's got a new mic. I was recording some guitar stuff yesterday, which made me goof around with my normal setup. I should get 2 rigs so I don't have to like mess with the YouTube stuff. So YouTube rig, guitar, and drum rig. Yes, and bass or whatever it happens to be.
And we should be able to print our own money too.
Yeah. So again, we love to thank our patrons here. You guys are awesome for supporting us, and we can get pretty things like audio that doesn't drop out and that stuff too. Yeah, and again, it's 3dmakeit.com. If you or patreon.com/3dmakeit. Wow. Or www.3dmakeit.ca. Yeah, let's start drinking. That'll get us going. If you guys haven't, hit that like, hit that subscribe. It will appease the YouTube gods.
Pierre has asked a question.
Yep.
I am not leaving the Creality world at all. I have multiple Creality printers. RepRap has nothing to do with Creality, really. You can put whatever board you want. You can run SmoothieWare. You can run anything you want in your printer. The OS is just, the core that you're running it just changes. I'm experimenting because I've always wanted to. Now the prices come down to the point where I can actually afford RepRap. So that's why I want to try it out, and I'm liking it so far. It's actually very easy to configure. Once you get the board stood up, getting the firmware super easy and whatnot. So if you're curious about it, it's worth a play around with. I'll see how the Big Tree Tech boards fare, but from the sounds of it, it looks like they all work pretty well. I might even try flipping one of the SKRs I have to the Gloomy RepRap and see how that works too. That'd be kind of neat to try.
Yeah, and yeah, like Greg says too, like just because we're RepRap curious, but that doesn't mean we're leaving an ecosystem. RepRap is just another firmware. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Right.
And so my Ender 3 was still going to be an Ender 3. It might run RepRap, it might run Marlin. And what's cool is if you are on the Big Tree Tech board, you can flip flop back and forth. So if you want to, do a test, tweak it all up with Marlin, get a print going, and then flip over to RepRap and do another print, you can do that, and so you can compare to see if there's any difference. And then the next thing that we're curious about, which I'm going to be trying on the Voron, is the clipper. So then it'd be nice to do a 3-way comparison, almost a shootout between all the different firmware revisions, right? You go Marlin and RepRap and then Clipper and get a good idea, and same hardware, right?
I quite like Clipper. It was useful for me, but at the same time, it was like when it came to updating the board again, I'm just like, I'm only doing it on one machine, so I might as well just do the same on all the machines and keep it easy. But that was before we started like doing lots of the videos that we've been doing. So, can you run Marlin instead of RepRap for an
On
IDEX?
some boards,
Or
yes.
like, yeah, like what? Well, in relation to what?
So some board, I think it's just in relation to the boards. Some boards support both. So like the new SKR E3 Rep RRF can run both Marlin, and it can run the RepRap firmware. The SKR2 right now supports Marlin, and they are going to be supporting RepRap on that one as well. So if you want to try one or the other, you'll be able to. So we're going to do some once I get a little more comfortable playing around in it. I will definitely try both and demonstrate how you can go back and forth between the two and whatnot. I think we'll have a whole series on pros and cons that we've run into, because we don't have enough experience yet. So I can't tell you if there's a pro or a con one way or the other yet, because I don't have enough experience. So, but we'll get that experience and we'll let you guys know.
I'm just gonna look at the to answer his question here. So he was specifically talking about the RRF board from Big Tree Tech.
Yes, it runs both Marlin and RepRap firmware. You can put the Gloomy config files and get it going. That's one of the reasons I like that one, is it has both on it, so you can do both.
Yeah, and the chipset is just an STM32 F407. So
which is the
it's
exact same chip that's on the Flyboard.
Yep. So it's supported.
The Duet, and so it is fully supported.
So here's truth time too. Any board supported is if you want to make your own pins file, and because it doesn't. That's really what supported is, right? Like if you can flash the firmware on the board, which you can with these, as long as the pin file exists, or if you are motivated enough to make your own pins file, it's gonna work. Now, Pierre, yes.
Right now, the Fly though doesn't have a Marlin version.
Not specifically.
At the moment, it's only RepRap. There's some talk about people making pins files and getting it to the point of it should be easy to make it compatible, but no one has officially done that yet.
Well, that's what I was saying, right? Like if you're motivated to make a pins file, that's the only thing that's holding you back. I think, right? The so Greg, Pierre muses. I hope there's going to be a Voron video, and hell yeah, there is.
Well, there's going to be a series. Like we probably will film some of the printing process and some of the issues that David has gone through, and then I will go through. I've cleared off some space and whatnot, and I'll go through the build of the actual frame and whatnot, and then we'll kind of go step by step through it. So we'll make a series out of it. I don't know what you guys would prefer. Would you guys prefer live streams or edited videos, or maybe an edited video at the end compiling them all? I'm not sure what you would prefer, because I can definitely chat with you and do it through a series of live streams.
Well, I think we do kind of both, right? Like we hang out for a while here and there, and then we continue on, and that way we get to hang out along the way. Probably throw some Patreon live streams in there too, so we can have our friends on. Now Dominic asks about the TH3D Easy board. Never used one.
Never used it.
It is a 32-bit controller that is specifically designed to drop into like the Ender form factor. So it's very similar to the idea of the E3 Mini and those kind of controllers. Again, I'm sure it works really good. So put it that way. I've heard good things about it. I haven't used it, but I'm sure it works fine. But Dominic, I would steer away. And like, I broke my own rule and I regret it since. But steer towards boards that let you use dip drivers, so you can replace them if something goes wrong with the driver. And like I said, I broke my rule when I bought the E3 Turbo, but I bought that for the channel so that we could do the video and stuff. So, but I will always recommend dip driver boards. So if you're looking at the TH3D Easy board, the E3 dip, or even would be similar because it drops right into the ender, right? Or even like Greg just ordered the SKR2.
Well, yeah, but if you look at the RepRap E3D RepRap, it drops right in the ender, and you don't have to get the IDEX portion, and it will run Marlin, and it will also run RepRap. So if you want to try either, and the cost is pretty reasonable actually. So
yeah, and again, it's the form factor fits the ender, so it ticks all those boxes, right? So Raymond says just use Discord for the build. Just
I could. There's a video section on Discord. So.
Yeah, there is.
But not everyone here is on Discord, right?
Well, that's kind of the point.
I mean, definitely, like, subscribe, thumbs up. But if you want to join us for a more in-depth one-on-one, you can join us in Discord. I know there's some people in our Legacy Discord, but feel free to join us on Patreon if you are so desired and like what you see so far, because we'll do stuff there. But I think I want to make it so that everyone can follow along. So it'll probably be I'll try to clean up my setup here so that I can get some good overview shots and whatnot. And
are you saying your work area is messy? Messy work area?
Well, I could show it to you.
That's okay. I know what it looks like.
Does everyone want to see my messy desk? Because I can arrange this.
The studio tour.
Just hold on. Let me see if I can switch this.
It always makes me laugh. Here, hold on. I'm going to switch you to full screen.
I think I can do this.
I'm going to switch to Greg, everybody. There he is. Oh, now what did you do? No, because you switched cameras and I don't have that feed.
Oh, no.
Hold on. There it goes. Okay, got it. 1 second. I fixed it. Transition. Check out that stinger. Okay, there it is.
So this is my messy desk. So you can see I was doing some hot end stuff. I got my keyboard out for our stream. So I got a lot of mess going on here. So I got to get organized. I don't have a lot of space on this desk. I do have a little bit more over on the other side. So I'll flip back my camera. So I gotta get organized, guys, so that I can present in a better way, for sure. So
I'll flip back, and then once there you go, you're back. I could show you mine, but mine's clean. Not bragging. I cleaned it last night, though. In all fairness, after the legend,
mine's definitely not clean.
Stig says it's not as messy as mine, so it's cool.
It's organized chaos. I can find everything.
Right. So again, everybody, I want to say thank you for coming. Subscribe, like, share. Feel, that helps us out a lot. The Patreon exists, www.patreon.com/3dmakeit. And if you want to find us, the easiest way is just www.3dmakeit.ca. All of our socials and links are up there. And there'll be a bit of overhauling to the YouTube carousel up there too. So updates are coming, but we're at an hour. So I'm going to say thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everyone, and we'll make sure that we put some more behind the scenes up as we move along, and I will maybe start. I got to look at the how I'm gonna do the boron build, and we'll post it on YouTube and let you guys know, because it sounds like a lot of you want to see the live build and
Yep.
answer questions as we're going. So.
Yep. Oh,
All
Stig,
right.
before we go, before we
It's
go,
all good.
Stig, the answer to your question is the video would have been out this week except for the legend. So it took too
Yes.
much time away. So, but yes. Anyway, that's the last answer I have for the day. So, bye, Greg. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, everyone, and don't forget to thumbs up before you guys leave.